What is happening inside the Juvenile Detention Center in Dallas County? It depends on who you ask. Former and current employees came to us with concerns and shared photos of the inside.
The living conditions when they would come out of their cells, it was pretty bad.
A former employee who asked we not identify him shared these images. Some of the pictures of toilets overflowing with feces are too disturbing to broadcast, but we can show you these. It shows a facility that is filthy and unsanitary.
There was trash piled up, and they had gnats flying around. Their toilets were clogged up, mattresses were ripped, blankets were ripped. It was pretty bad.
He and others we spoke to say they're speaking out because they're concerned about the living conditions and staffing shortages. Kids as young as 12 years old are inside the juvenile detention facility.
The majority of the times, these kids are up, for 3 or 4 days straight. It's just very, very sad to see these kids being neglected like that. There's days where they don't even shower at times just because, there's no staff.
By state law, juveniles are supposed to have 10 hours of function time outside their cells, like going to school or doing activities. But whistleblowers tell us that's not happening. This document provided to us shows that on this particular day, the juvenile inmates who range from ages 12 to 18 years old were out of their cells for only an hour or two. They didn't go to school. The reason given? Not enough staff.
They don't make it an issue. They think that it's okay to have these kids living in these poor conditions.
We shared the pictures with Judge Cheryl Shannon, who is the presiding judge for the Dallas County Juvenile Courts and leads the Juvenile Detention Board that governs the facility. She says she can't confirm the pictures were taken inside the Henry Wade Juvenile Justice Center, but says she is often inside that facility and hasn't seen anything like this.
I just randomly went to some housing quarters. What I saw was things that were clean showers. So if somebody took a photo or photos of some thing that occurred at some point, is it possible? Yes. Did it stay like that? I doubt it.
She also disputes that juveniles are being held in their cells for days at a time.
I can absolutely tell you that by and large, there are not youth that are in their, if you want to call it a cell, in their sleeping quarters for days at a time without functioning, without those activities.
Former and current employees also told us how supervisors mistreat the juvenile suspects in the detention centers. We took a look at one of those cases where documents show a juvenile in detention tried to commit suicide.
What this juvenile did was he began tying shirts and blankets around his neck in an attempt to self-harm himself.
His mother, who didn't go on camera, told us that her son has mental health issues. According to her and the whistleblower, the juvenile didn't immediately get psychiatric help, which is standard protocol. According to records, a supervisor told a jailer not to bother. It's going to take him 2 days to get psych to see him.
This kid didn't even go down to medical. He was never medically cleared.
Judge Shannon says inmates should and do receive proper care when suffering a mental health crisis.
If they have hurt themselves in some way, we're going to get them out of here to get medical treatment. So I absolutely will look into the situation.
Some county commissioners and the district attorney have been at odds with the director of the Juvenile Detention Department, Daryl Beatty, and Judge Shannon. Dallas County has been looking into juvenile care at the detention centers, but can't get records from the Juvenile Detention Board, so they're suing them for the documents.
Yeah, juvenile justice definitely needs to be revamped. We need to have someone in there who does an independent study of our entire juvenile department from top to bottom to figure out where we're doing things right and where we're doing things wrong. Transparency is the key.
Summerman and District Attorney John Creuzot believe that what is happening or not happening inside the facility is keeping the county from focusing on rehabilitation. Creuzot says kids who are not getting proper treatment, programs, or education will be in and out of jail.
If we're watching a system where they're in and out and getting worse and worse, okay, then we all have a responsibility to create a better system.
Crusoe and Summerman have also asked for information on what rehabilitative programs like drug counseling and mental health services are being provided to juveniles. The county commissioners spend hundreds of thousands of dollars funding programs every year, but Summerman says Beatty and the Juvenile Detention Department refuse to release that information. They've had to go as far as finding individual vendors and providers to see if they can get records from them.
What we found was some of these programs are not being used at all, others are working effectively, and others are not. And so we have to examine each one of these programs separately and make sure that we only fund those that are working.
There was a strong suggestion that whatever programs these kids were going to weren't working.
Judge Shannon acknowledges that some of the outside programs may not be used all the time because they have their own internal programs that they utilize first.
I will tell you, I think there are some youth that I don't care what the intervention is, it may not be impactful. I don't think that's the majority of the youth that we serve.
I think that we're setting ourselves up for continued failure, continued recidivism.
We asked Daryl Beatty for an on-camera interview, but he declined, although he said he would meet with us to talk about juvenile justice as a whole. We have learned the state is investigating Dallas County Juvenile Detention Department. That report is expected to come out later this month, and it will shed light on what is being done right and what is being done wrong. In Dallas County, I'm Rebecca Lopez.